Eh bien, je passe au point 8 de l'ordre du jour. Je n'ai pas vu de main se lever. Il s'agit du suivi de la conférence sur l'avenir de l'Europe et de la charte de la jeunesse et de la démocratie. Je pense qu'on a une intervenante qui s'approche, j'imagine, ou un intervenant, sur la participation des jeunes en vue des élections européennes. Je vous rappelle que dans l'esprit de certaines recommandations de la conférence sur l'avenir de l'Europe, sur la participation des jeunes au fonctionnement démocratique de l'Union, le comité s'est lancé dans un processus de co-création avec le Forum européen de la jeunesse pour la co-création donc d'une charte sur jeunesse et démocratie adoptée par notre plénière il y a un an très exactement. À 6 mois des élections au Parlement européen, le plus grand exercice démocratique pour l'Europe, nous avons estimé opportun de contribuer à la pré-campagne en évoquant la question essentielle de la mobilisation des jeunes Européens, en espérant faire mieux qu'en 2019, en espérant aussi que les jeunes votent pour l'Europe. Compte tenu également du fait que plusieurs États membres ont abaissé l'âge du vote à 16 ou 17 ans entre-temps. Pour engager notre discussion, je veux d'abord donner la parole à Cristiana Xenofontos, vice-présidente du Forum européen de la jeunesse. La commission CIVEX, en coopération avec la commission CEDEC, est associée au Forum européen de la jeunesse dans le cadre de différentes initiatives. Je vous remercie, Madame, de partager avec nous les objectifs du Forum de la jeunesse vis-à-vis des prochaines européennes. Vous avez 8 minutes. Bienvenue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, President. My name is Cristiana Xenofontos. I am the Vice President of the European Youth Forum, which is the largest democratic platform of youth organizations globally. We represent at the moment over 5,000 youth organizations and millions of young people, driving forward the focus at the EU level, Council of Europe, and UN level on youth rights and participation. Thank you very much for the kind invitation to be part of this debate today, to bring these youth voices to the conversation. I am also particularly heartened by the title of today's panel and debate, because I have spoken the previous weeks at many events regarding the EU elections, which, as we all know, is the next big EU process on the horizon. And with it carries an expectation that young people should engage with many decision makers interested in this youth vote. However, the Conference on the Future of Europe and last year's European Year of Youth, which included our co-development of the Charter on Youth and Democracy, were also extensive EU-level processes that involved young people and asked for their inputs. These processes and young people's ideas that were shared should not be forgotten as we move to the next political mandate, and instead should be followed up on both and should be prioritized. And this is something where I believe that the Committee of the Regions and the European Youth Forum, we are very, very much aligned. On our side, we have been working for over a year now to socialize our youth manifesto that we drafted in collaboration with our membership with the European political parties. It contains a list of 20 demands across the pillars of democracy and participation, youth rights, sustainability, and digitalization, and includes areas such as improving the transition from education to employment, improving young people's working conditions and social protection, including through banning the unpaid internships, improving the consideration of young people in legislative decision-making, tackling the climate emergency by imposing binding material footprint targets, and many other areas that also appeared in the Conference on the Future of Europe Outcomes Report and were raised by young people during the Year of Youth. There is always such an interest in harnessing this youth vote ahead of the elections, but you cannot force young people, of course, or indeed any age group to vote unless you give them something to vote for. And indeed, the latest Eurobarometer survey shows that the desire to change things is more of a priority for young respondents when compared to the general population. Therefore, the level of ambition from politicians needs to be high. We will continue our advocacy efforts on the manifesto this year, and once the European parties will publish their own manifestos in the first quarter of next year, we will analyze their commitments to see how they resonate with our manifesto, and we will share this content on our social media to explain to young people what each party stands for and to show that we are ready to work with the Parliament on all these themes together during the next mandates. We are also using the momentum for the elections to amplify our campaign to lower the voting age to 16 for all elections, which was also an area addressed during the conference on the future of Europe. 2024 will see many thousands of Belgian and German 16 and 17-year-olds voting in European elections for their very first time. They will join their peers from Austria, Malta and Estonia, who already vote at least in one election from the age of 16, and Greece, where voting age is 17. I hope that this will prompt momentum and discussions in other countries on opening up our democracies to younger voters in order to make their voices count in this institutionalized way. At 16 and 17, we can work, we can drive, we can make medical decisions, we can join a political party, we can often get married or enter a civil partnership, but there is no reason why we should not be able to have a democratic saying. This level of responsibility that runs on your 16th birthday should match your democratic rights by lowering the voting age to 16 for all elections in Europe. This will also allow young people to vote earlier while being supported to do so in educational frameworks and develop a voting and registration habit for life. We are therefore continue to work with the Body Shop and the UN Youth Petition Office on the Be Seen, Be Heard campaign, including a launching petition on the vote at 16, which I would love for all of you to sign and share also on your networks. This will also give a strength to our members' campaigns on a national level to lower their voting age, and I would encourage you to look out for local activity on this too. We are also running a number of events in the build-up to the elections that have a strong and local dimension. We are collaborating now with the Age platform, the network of organizations working for and with older people, to run a series of local democracy festivals. These festivals will take place in 15 different member states, bringing together younger and older people and policymakers to build community ties and lead to greater understanding. Look out for invitations from the organizers about this. We will also be organizing the second edition of our Level Up next year, an activist camp which took place also back in 2022. And next year's festival will focus on the EU elections, obviously, and will train young voting ambassadors to enhance their skills and knowledge, who will then work in their countries to motivate their peers to vote in the elections. The event will take place on the 12th and 13th of April as part of the European Youth Week, and we would love to welcome you all there. Once again, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this debate and to contribute with a view from the youth aspect towards the elections. And I will now give the floor back to the chair.
Merci à vous. Oui, on peut.
Yes.
Merci pour ces mots qui témoignent de conviction forte et de l'engagement de la jeunesse. Outre les travaux sur la charte de la jeunesse et de la démocratie déjà mentionnés, nous continuons de soutenir l'engagement des jeunes en politique, compris dans le cadre du programme des jeunes élus qui participent quasiment systématiquement à nos réunions. C'est pourquoi aujourd'hui je souhaite la bienvenue. Eh bien, chers collègues, maintenant la parole est à vous.
Well, dear colleagues, let me now open the floor.
sans trop de, comme on est encore en début de réunion, sans trop de restrictions. Un peu quand même, 2 minutes. Alors, Monsieur Brooks, Madame Pantelejeva, je vais y arriver. Voilà, Rautio, Alexandra Dulkiewicz, Mr. Hanik. Et puis, c'est tout pour l'instant. Okay. Allons-y. Donc, on commence par Monsieur Brooks.
We'll start with Mr. Brooks.
Ja, vielen Dank, Herr Präsident. Ich möchte mich ganz herzlich bei den beiden Sprechern der Jugend bedanken für ihre Ausführungen und insbesondere auch für ihr Engagement. Denn junge Menschen sind wichtige Akteure bei der Gestaltung unserer heutigen Gesellschaft und der Zukunft. Die Konferenz zur Zukunft Europas hatte nicht nur auf die aktive Beteiligung von jungen Menschen gebaut, sondern auch Vorschläge zur Verbesserung der Teilhabe von Jugendlichen und jungen Menschen am politischen Leben gemacht. Wie die anderen Vorschläge wurden auch diese bisher leider nicht vom Rat aufgegriffen oder gar ein Fahrplan zu einer möglichen Umgestaltung vorgestellt. Ich finde das sehr bedauerlich. Gerade im Europawahljahr 2024 wäre ein Zeichen an junge Menschen in Europa so wichtig. Europas Regionalparlamente mit Gesetzgebungsbefugnissen wie dem Landtag in Nordrhein-Westfalen, dem ich angehöre, kommen hier einer besonderen Rolle zu, da wir mehr noch als die nationalen Parlamente näher an den Menschen sind. Die für die Demokratiebildung wichtigen Aktivitäten der Regionalparlamente umfassen zum Beispiel Besuchsangebote für Kinder und Jugendliche, Schulbesuche der Parlamentarier und des Präsidenten, das Jugendparlament, was wir gerade in der letzten Woche erst hatten, Wahlsimulationen, Schülerwettbewerbe, Online-Seminare sowie Debattenwettbewerbe. Einige Regionalparlamente führen grenzüberschreitende Veranstaltungen durch. Dazu gehören aktive Begleitung von grenzübergreifenden Parlamentarierkonferenzen durch Jugendliche, die Organisation von multinationalen Jugendveranstaltungen und die Unterstützung des Jugenddelegiertenformats beim Kongress der Gemeinden und Regionen Europas im Europarat. Daher freue ich mich, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen, dass die Konferenz der Präsidentinnen und Präsidenten der deutschsprachigen Landesparlamente im Januar eine Erklärung zur Stärkung der Teilhabe am demokratischen Leben und Förderung der Europabildung von Kindern und Jugendlichen verabschieden möchte. Gleichzeitig richten die deutschsprachigen Landesparlamente, also jene aus Deutschland, Österreich, Südtirols und der deutschsprachigen Gemeinschaft Belgiens, ihren Aufruf zur Europawahl 2024 an die junge Generation. Auch vor dem Hintergrund, dass in Deutschland erstmals das Wahlalter ab 16 Jahren gilt. Gerade im Verbund mit dem Ausschuss der Regionen können die Regionalparlamente mit Gesetzgebungsbefugnis eine entscheidende Rolle bei der Förderung der Europabildung und Stärkung der Teilhabe spielen. Diese sollten wir gemeinsam nutzen. Vielen Dank.
Merci pour votre intervention.
Thank you very much.
Madame Pantelejeva.
Mrs. Pantelejeva.
Paldies par doto vārdu.
Thank you.
Arī no savas zaļās grupas gribu akcentēt to, ka jaunieši ir bijusi mūsu prioritāte. Visos jautājumos iekļaujot jauniešu perspektīvu un dodot jauniešiem iespēju izteikt viedokļus. Piekrītot un pievienoties tam, ka reģionāli, reģionāli līmenī ir ļoti daudz iespējas kādā veidā iesaistīt jauniešus, un mēs arī aicinātu reģionu komitejas dalībniekus izmantot tās iespējas, kas ir dažādi veidi padomas vai jauniešu padomas vai jauniešu organizācijas, kuras uzrunāt. Īpaši domājot par topošajām Eiropas vai nākamajām Eiropas parlamenta vēlēšanām, jo tika arī pieminēts, ka jaunu cilvēku aktivitāte šajās vēlēšanās ir salīdzinoši zemāka, kaut gan Eiropas parlaments un Eiropa ļoti ietekmē katru jauniešu dzīvi. Tāpat jaunieši nav mūsu nākotne, jaunieši ir mūsu tagadne, līdz ar to es noteikti arī pievienojos aicinājumam visās Eiropas Savienības valstīs ļaut jauniešiem no 16 gadu vecuma piedalīties demokrātiskās procesos, vēlot savus pārstāvjus gan vietējā, gan nacionālā, gan Eiropas parlamenta līmenī. Bet runāt par konkrētām lietām, ko mēs varam ietekmēt un uzlabot, gribēju arī vērst uzmanību uz Eiropas parlamenta rezolūciju, kurā arī tika tika norādīts uz Eiropas reģionu komitejas un Eiropas ekonomiskās sociāla lietu komitejas lomu, implementējot un saprotot, kādā veidā varētu implementēt Eiropas Savienības jauniešu testu tādā veidā, uzlabojot un pilnveidojot iesaists un izveidot jaunu rīku, kādā veidā jaunieši var iesaistīties politiskajos procesos. Paldies jums!
Merci beaucoup. La parole est à Madame Rautio, que j'ai perdu en face de moi.
Mrs. Rautio.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Président. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your presentation, both of you. I come from Finland, from the city of Hämeenlinna, which was the first child-friendly city in Finland. 10 years ago, we made the criteria together with UNICEF and actually, of course, together with youngsters, with the local youngsters. And I was very happy to hear about your proposals and what you suggested, and I'm happy to tell that in my city we have done a lot of these things, especially we have the Youth Council, and they have representatives in our city council and all the committees, and they can talk and give their own ideas, and they have the right to make motions also in the city decision-making system. And I must say that it's really good that the young people are involved in all politics, not only in some specific ones. And I must say that in our city council, it's always the young ones when they have their word. Everybody's listening much more carefully than perhaps with other politicians. So I must say it's a really good thing. But I think the most important thing is now when we come to the elections next year, as was mentioned already by the President and also previous speakers, that we definitely need all the work together now that the young people actually understand the meaning of these European elections. And I definitely think that we ought to do something together also with the Committee of the Regions and take the note to all our countries and also on the local level, and not to leave the youngsters behind either in this position. So thank you for this. I think it's really important. I'm not quite sure about the voting age of 16. I was just wondering if you have some evidence or something that it will actually bring up the voting rates, because I think that is really crucial. I definitely agree that young people should be involved in everything, but just wondering if you have any criteria on that. Thank you so much, and all the best for the work.
Merci beaucoup. La parole à Alexandra Godulkiewicz.
Mrs. Godulkiewicz.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your input to this discussion. I would only say about recent Polish example. As you know, last month we had Polish election for the first time in our history of democracy. Young people were so active during the voting action. Almost 70% of young people took part in the election, our national election. But in overall, we had historical frequency, 74% of all population. My question is, I also had the chance to take part in several meetings during conference on the future of Europe. My question is what we can do really to support European election between young voters, because I don't want to be with my bad thoughts for May, June this year, but I really do think that young people are not really aware of all the good things that are done by the European Union, and this is why they are not really active during the voting. So my question is to you, what you as a young people, young politician, young activists, what you can say, what more we can do to activate young people. Thank you very much.
Merci Alexandra. La parole à Monsieur Hanic.
Mr. Hanic is next.
Dites-moi comment prononcer votre nom correctement.
Can you tell me how you pronounce your name, please?
Tell me how to say your name properly.
Hranić.
Merci.
Hranić.
Hvala lijepa.
Thank you very much.
Evo, čestitam vam
I would
na
like to
izlaganju vama
congratulate
mladima.
you
Javio sam se
for your
prvenstveno zbog
presentation.
toga jer
I
sam
asked
ja
for floor first
sa
of all
22 godine
because
krenuo
at
u
the age of
politiku
22 I decided
rat kad
to
smo imali u Hrvatskoj.
become active,
I
but
bio
it
sam
was kind
jedan
of
od
forced on me
najmlađih
because of the war was
načelnika
happening
u
at the time. One of the
Hrvatskoj u ono
youngest
vrijeme. I tu
heads
vam
of
dajem potporu
municipality
maksimalno.
was at the
Ne
time.
moramo
So I
samo
would like to
izraziti ovdje
extend you
neku
all
deklarativnu
my
potporu, nego
wholehearted
moramo vas
support.
mlade uključiti
It
direktno
must
u
not
politiku.
remain
Ja sam
on a
6. mandat
declarative level.
načelnik u
So
svojoj
I
općini,
have
a imam
been
općinsko vijeće gdje je
the
prosjek
mayor
godina
for
33
6
godine. Dao sam mladima
consecutive
priliku
terms,
ne samo
and
da
the
budete,
average
s obzirom da sam bio politički
of
angažiran
the
u
members of the
mladeži svoje stranke,
councils in my town
većinom
is
su nas na početku koristili za
33
lijepljenje
years.
plakata u
At
promidžbenim
first, we were just
aktivnostima,
used to
ali nam nisu dali priliku
plaster
da budemo na listama,
the city,
bilo da se radi o općinskim,
with,
gradskim,
the
regionalnim ili
posters in the upcoming
listama za
elections, and we
parlament.
would not
Tu mi
consider
svi
for local
kao
voting
lokalni
lists.
čelnici moramo dati
But
mladima, znači
now
da se
we
politički
as
angažiraju
local
ne
leaders have to
samo da
make
nam
room
pomažu
for
u
the
tim
youth,
izbornim
not just
kampanjama,
use them
nego da im
as
damo
water
priliku, jer
bearers, but to
definitivno
really give them
imam
chance, because as
nekoliko
I
mladih
say,
vijećnika, evo
I have
najmlađi je
several
19 godina,
councillors,
koji
the
aktivno
youngest one among them is 19 years
doprinose
of age,
razvoju
and they're really
naše
giving a
općine.
great
Isto tako, kao
contribution
što
to
je
the
gospođa
development of our
napomenula, jedno smo
municipality.
od prvih
As
10 općina u
my
Republici
colleague
Hrvatskoj koje smo
mentioned,
općina
we are
prijatelj djece
also
i to me posebno
child-friendly
čini ponosnim. Češće moramo imati dane otvorenih vrata u svojim uredima da upoznamo te mlade. Evo, imao sam jedan prekrasan primjer prije nekih mjesec dana. Učenici iz osnovne škole došli su u posjetu moju općinu i jedna učenica iz drugog razreda evo predložila je dala je jedan prijedlog prekrasan koji sam uvrstio sad u proračun za sljedeću godinu. Rekla je ona malo da se ne smijemo, teško im je sjediti na stolicama u školi, da li možemo kupiti jastak. Evo, trebaju te najmanje članove naše zajednice uvažavati, da ne govorimo o mladima u srednjoj školi, fakultetima, tako da evo maksimalna podrška, velim i kolege. Svi vi kad imate lokalne izbore, uključite mlade jer dolaze sa novim idejama, pogotovo mi koji smo 5-6 mandata, već smo stari, nemamo toliko tih mladih ideja, ali otvoreno su vam vrata, vama mladima barem, velim što se tiče moje općine, moje regije i maksimalna podrška u tome.
Merci beaucoup. La parole à Monsieur Fava.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fava now, please.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to share what's happening in Malta in this regard, the subject we are discussing. After the summer recess, the government of Malta has launched the legislative process to enable local councillors as young as 16 and 17 to become mayors and deputy mayors. Until last week, 16 and 17-year-olds could vote and contest local council elections, but could not become mayors or deputy mayors, even if they received the highest or second highest number of first count votes. The bill was approved last week, meaning that councillors under 18 who win the highest number of votes from the party that gets the majority of votes can take up the post of mayor and deputy mayor. It also includes an amendment allowing mayors under 18 to sign legal documents such as contracts and checks on behalf of the local council. The bill also proposed an amendment that would make the council's mayor and executive secretary jointly responsible for representing the council in legal spheres, meaning that both can sue or be sued on behalf of the local council. Thank you.
Merci pour ces informations. Et Madame Mickelson.
Mrs. Mickelson.
Mr. President, thank you. Thank you, youth representatives. It was a very big pleasure to hear you here and actually that we're giving you a stage. I represent the youngest by average age municipality in the Latvia. So we have more youth than seniors in municipality, and everything begins locally. I believe that in action we need to involve young people. not only lozungs, not only just giving the stage, but really involve, really listen and make dialogue. Youth Council is the best platform for the practice. It should be a mission of everyone here, everyone locally, to be in contact and give a stage for youth. Only a year ago, I was here in Region Committee as the participant of Young Elected Politician platform. Today I am one of the youngest mayors in Latvia, so we need to give the stage, we need to show by examples, and I'm really glad that we hear it and we understand, and I think we are ready to act. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Pas d'autres intervenants préjugés de l'avenir. Madame, je vous en prie.
Over to you.
Once again, thank you for your encouraging words. Allow me first to say, to answer to the two questions that we received about the vote at 16. 2/3 of the young people ages 16 to 30 that they were eligible to vote back in the EP elections in 2019 voted. So we have the 2/3 there. But of course, I urge you all to find through our website, European Youth Forum, our campaign. We have also several other data there based on the countries that they're already implementing it. And of course, taking the pass from my fellow panelists here, we are not only advocating to lower the voting age at 16. Among other things, we want proper civil education, we want to provide, of course, young people with tools, and we want to make our democracies inclusive to the maximum level. And there's also, I think, a question how we can urge young people to actually participate. I will make once again a reference to our manifesto about the EP elections. You can find there 20 demands. As young people, I think we also need to see eventually being represented demographically, meaning that we would love to see in the next elections candidates that are young. But of course, I think you've mentioned it previously, as young people, we also need inspiration in order to participate, because participation goes beyond the voting. For us, it's a 365 process, and that's the aim of all of us, I think, in this room at the end of the day. So we need to lead all of us by example. But I am also very pleased to be able to continue this work together and to follow up on the Charter on Youth and Democracy, together with the Committee of Regions, of course. It was a pleasure, actually, to collaborate with you during the European Year of Youth last year. An important role in the recommendations and space in the Charter was given to the local youth councils, actually, and local youth councils are important. They are representative, youth-led spaces for young people to have their voices to be heard. And as young people, we can talk about relevant issues, we can engage with decision makers, and we can improve our local communities together with and for other young people as well. However, the picture of youth councils varies, of course, across member states and by local area to local area. For example, in Denmark, around 70% of municipalities have youth councils. In Estonia, 76 local municipalities from 79 have structures in place, while in other member states there is still funding available and legislation in place to foster the creation of these spaces that are perhaps less developed. Two recommendations set out in the Charter encourage local decision makers to actually promote and strengthen the impact of existing local youth councils and to establish new ones as needed, and encourages regular participatory engagement between local decision makers and youth organizations such as these local youth councils that we have all mentioned. In order to bring, of course, these recommendations to life and to focus on the implementation of the Charter, I am delighted to be working closely with the Committee of Regions, and in particular Tine Radina, the rapporteur on the future of EU youth policy adopted last year, to promote the Committee of Regions links to and championing of local youth councils. I look forward to continue collaboration on this with you all in the coming months as the initiative develops, and I would encourage you all to get involved to the maximum. Once again, thank you.
Merci beaucoup à tous les deux. On peut les applaudir, oui. Nous aussi, on look forward à continuer à travailler avec vous et pour l'implication de la jeunesse. La démocratie, ça ne s'use pas quand on s'en sert. Au contraire, si on ne l'utilise pas, si on ne s'en sert pas, c'est là qu'elle peut s'user et qu'on peut en oublier les vertus. Et comme elle est largement attaquée aujourd'hui dans le monde, il est extrêmement important que la jeunesse européenne soit mobilisée de plus en plus. Merci beaucoup. Nous, en tant que CIVEX, sommes impliqués, tout comme la CEDEC et le comité des régions dans son ensemble. Et au plaisir de vous recroiser. Bon courage à vous. Merci beaucoup.